What's up, good people? Today is November the 1st, 2025. And I want to come on here and speak to you guys just because I recorded a video yesterday. And in that video, I was speaking about how the president of this country and the Republicans, how they're intentionally causing these issues that keep arising in this country. And what we have to also look at is the fact that they try to do things to make it look as if it's the Democratic Party's fault for whatever problems that are occurring. So in this case, they're trying to make it out to be the Democrats' fault that the government has been shut down for these many days. And in all truth, it's both political parties' fault, but the Democrats are trying to continue helping the ones that are in need of help. And so that's why the Democrats refuse to agree with whatever the Republicans are wanting them to agree to in order to reopen the government. And so in this case, it's the Republicans' fault because, like I mentioned in my previous video, that the Republicans are trying to cut off as many people as they can from receiving any type of assistance from the government. And they're doing this and thinking that by cutting these people off, it's going to save this country money, and that the people that are in need of government assistance are just mooching off of the government. And I went into I got kind of upset yesterday just because that's a label that's being put on people that isn't necessarily the truth. I know people that have mental issues that have to depend on the government, that they cannot be around people for the most part just because of the mental issues that they have. I know people that have physical disabilities. They have health issues. They have been diagnosed with these issues, and they have to depend on the government for those reasons. So I say it upsets me when people say that people are just trying to live off the government and they don't have their facts together. They truly don't. I had to depend on the government. And this was at a time where I did not have an automobile. I worked. I had my own apartment. I paid child support. I walked to work. I rode a bicycle to work. I did what I had to do in order to get to work. But I did not have enough income to feed myself, so I had to get government assistance. So what we have to do is stop letting people fill your head up with this nonsense that majority of the people that have food stamps or disability, that they are able to do things that maybe you were able to accomplish, or someone you know may have been able to accomplish something. But everybody is not the same. And we have to understand that just like you have a Floyd Mayweather or a Terrence Crawford when it comes down to boxing, they are one of a kind. Everybody can achieve the things that they have achieved. And that's the same concept when it comes down to the people that are out here working 9 to 5s in society in order to keep the lights on, in order to keep people fed, in order to keep the grocery store shelves stocked. So let's cut out this nonsense about you need to do better for yourself. Because the opportunity to become better and do better are becoming smaller and smaller. You have to have this type of education. You have to have spent $50,000, $100,000 in schools in order to get a degree, in order to go work in a certain field. And people like myself, whom I'm considered middle-aged in certain cases, but I'll be 44 this year. That it's difficult when you reach the age that I am and you have a family that you have to take care of to be able to go back to school and do all these other things in order to try and better yourself. So let's cut out the nonsense. Let's cut out the lies. Because reality is that everyone isn't the same. Everyone doesn't have the mental capacity to be able to go to school and actually accomplish passing classes and getting a degree, because they don't have the mental capacity to be able to do so. And so let's stop this once again mess that people are putting out here, because the more and more you believe the lies, the more and more off-centered you become, the more and more off track you go. So let's focus and let's look at the reality, y'all. You know, majority of these jobs, they talk about Amazon and stuff, $15 an hour. Some people think that that's money, and I don't understand how. I do understand why, because if you're coming from a $10 an hour job to a $15 an hour job, yeah, that's money. But when you've worked in certain fields, or you $15 an hour, and you do the math, it's not enough money. And even if you're working full time at $20 an hour, if you have a family that you have to feed, you're going to have to depend on government assistance if that's your only form of income. And that's facts. But what I really want to come on here and talk about is that yesterday, a couple of judges passed a bill or a law or whatever it may have been, but they ruled on the fact that the government is going to have to continue funding the recipients of benefits through the SNAP program. And so this president that you guys and that this country has made a statement or a comment on how can he do that, in which he knows how he can do that. But then he stated, well, if they show me how I can go about doing it, then I'll be more than happy to do so. And so I'm saying this because, once again, he and his political party is the reason why the government is shut down. Point blank, period. They're the reason why it's shut down. But what he's trying to do is that if the government funds the SNAP program and continues to allow these people to be able to buy groceries to feed their family, he's going to look like he's the hero. He's going to look like, oh, I want these people to be funded. That's what he wants people to think. But what we have to understand and go backwards and look at past statements that this guy has made in reference to people that receive benefits, whether it's Medicaid or Medicare or SNAP. He made negative comments basically saying that these people were leeches and that majority of the people do not deserve the benefits. But yet, at this point in time, knowing that he is the cause of the government being shut down, and because the judges made a ruling against him that he has to abide by, he wants to say, well, I'll be more than happy to fund these people so that they can continue to eat. Well, if you would be more than happy to fund the SNAP program, why on earth would you not be more than happy to continue to fund the Medicaid and the Medicare program so that the government can reopen and people can go back to living life normally who have to depend on a paycheck from the government? You have these federal workers who have not been paid in 2 weeks at this point in time. And God knows, if I had to go 1 week without my paycheck or go without one paycheck, I would be in such a rut that I don't know how I would be able to pull myself out without someone else having to reach out and help me. So it just upsets me, y'all. It really does, that the people of America can be so ignorant. No, and you know what? It doesn't amaze me, because America is the same country that at this point in time is looking at the Hispanic people as if they are nothing. And this is the same country that looked at black Americans as if we were nothing. So I do understand why this country is so ignorant. This country was built on ignorance. It was built on stupidity. When you had people being pushed to the back of a Durham bus because you were black, you had to drink from a separate water fountain or go in a back door because of the color of your skin. And these were laws in this foolish country. You know, I was just sitting here listening to the Bible, a guy reading the Bible, and I don't remember exactly what chapter or what verse it was that he was reading, but it was in reference to Abraham. And God told Abraham that his people would go into slavery for 400 years. And this is God speaking to Abraham, y'all. And he told him that his people would go into slavery for 400 years. But after those 400 years are up, his people would be free. And not only free, the people that held them captive would pay for all of the evil things that they did to those people those 400 years. And it just brought me to just a realization that slavery is a bad thing. Most definitely it is. But because there are people who have that mentality of, I want to rule the world and I want to rule everyone in it, that people become slaves. But those same people that were slaves, and God said that those people would get everything that they deserved that was good. They would have all of the riches, and all of these good things would come to them after their time in slavery ended. And it just made me think about the United States, y'all. And I don't know how many years it was that the blacks were enslaved in this country. But if we look at the black community now, it is we are a group of people that are thriving in this country. We are a group of people that, in all honesty, other groups of people look at us, and they look at us with envy, which is not a good thing, but they do. And they wonder, how do they accomplish these things? How is he so good at this? How is she so good at that? And it's because God said that when the people come out of slavery, that they were going to be rulers. They were going to get everything that they should have gotten. And that the people that enslaved them would pay for everything that they did. And y'all, that's what's going on in this country. It truly is. But like I said, y'all, do not be fooled by the president of this country. He does not want to continue to help the people that are in need. He doesn't want to do that. And in order to make himself look good in the eyes of the ignorant, he's going to make it seem like he is happily funding these people's snaps cards once again. He is doing this out of the kindness of his heart, which in all honesty, he could have did this a long time ago. It took the court system to have to step in and force him. You hear me? It took the court system to come in and force him to have to fund the SNAP program. So he's not necessarily doing it out of the goodness of his heart, y'all. He's doing it because he's being forced into doing it. Because if he truly cared, he would have been like, well, even if the government does stay shut down, well, what can we do in order to keep these people fed? What can we do in order to at least bring some type of money in to the government workers so that they don't go completely broke and lose every single thing that they've worked hard for? That's not his way of thinking though, y'all. So once again, please do not be fooled by his tactics. The guy truly has shown, and he's going to continue to show, that he does not care about the ones that are actually keeping this country up and running. The only thing that he cares about is the rich and how he can get richer. That's his only thought process, y'all. But I just had to come on here and say that because even though it should be an obvious thing, everything is not obvious to everyone. And so somebody may hear this and they may realize, you know what? This guy's telling the truth. I didn't even think about it like that. But y'all be safe out there. I hope y'all have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you soon.